Hey guys, welcome back to the Interceptor. We are here with a war video that I am not very happy to be recording right now. We destroyed these guys. We obliterated them because they were not pushing for Masters this season. 2 seasons ago, they got top 3, and they actually beat us in War 11 of last season with a score of 4-3. Just barely beat us. And if we had won that war, we would have ended 2nd place instead of 3rd place. So we definitely knew we had to take them seriously, but I did know going into the war that they were not pushing. And today we have the team of Doom, Moleman, and White Magneto. And this is going to just be one of the most pathetic wars you've seen. I think I only had 2 fights the entire war. 3 fights, actually, the entire war that went to plan. In 2 of my fights, I eat a special 3. In 2 more fights, I eat entire special attacks, and against the Manthing, I get poisoned because I go to special 3 like an idiot. So I'm going to use 20% boosts for this war because I do not have any mini bosses past like the middle of section 1 and like nothing on the boss island. I only have section 1 and section 2 fights plus 3 minis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shit, I had 7 fights this war, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna have to correct what I put in the description of this video because it's not right. Because I thought I only had 6 fights, but I actually had 7. So first up, we're on Path 3, Section 1, and we have this Dragon Man. And oh my god, I hate this fight. This is not a hard fight. Let me be clear. This is a very, very easy fight. The problem arises when you play it the way I do. So, I'm going to start off the normal thing. Look at that! I already did 10% damage. I used a regen boost here because I'm like, what can possibly go wrong in this fight? And then I remembered that stagger is not affected by the node that reduces ability accuracy on Nullify. Stagger still always staggers. So what that means is that when I thought I was not always going to be staggering the buff and triggering return policy, I am. I am always doing that. So look at that L1. 3 nullifies on 3 beams. And there I knew I couldn't trigger Dex because of the global. So here I'm going to throw my L3. I mean, he's dead, but it's like if the way that first fight went is not an indicator of the way this war is going to go, nothing is. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy what you're going to see. And I'm going to get my nullifies, going to throw this L1, and then I'm going to finish him off with my special 2 because he did not have a power gain at the time, and I still have my aura up, and the special 2 kills. But that should have legitimately been a 35 to 40 second fight with Dr. Doom. And I ate an L3. And yeah. Now this fight goes great. Great fight. Great fight against Tigra. This is honestly the fight I'm the most happy about. Although there was 2 other fights that also went absolutely perfectly. But yeah. I'm actually going to fix the description of my end so that it reads the correct number of deaths, or the correct number of fights, rather, in the war, because I don't know how I messed that up. But yeah, I actually had some issues communicating with the servers heading into this fight, and then they just disappeared, and I loaded in. So I backed out just to make sure that I didn't have it. I didn't have issues anymore, and then I'm going to go into the fights. I still have my regen boost up. 25 seconds left. And I go in. And this is a pretty straightforward fight. It's a really easy node. You can tell by the way that her senses tick down that this is an extremely, extremely low sig Tigra. which is cool because she's a shit defender anyways. Like, it doesn't matter what sig she is. But I'm just saying that's something you can tell. I knew that when I was that close, I wanted to block the first hit because I think Tigra's a global defender. I think. And then we hit a reparry there, and we throw our heavy attack. Now, this does have power focus 2, which means that my Doom cycle is not going to get me back to an L2 after the L1. But actually, if you use power back boost, it does work. You just have to modify your combo after, but it doesn't matter because of my Fury. I'm doing so much damage that my combo hits are actually going to kill right here. So that was a picture-perfect fight. And now we go into the fight that I died to last season, and I'm actually going to make the exact same mistake of forgetting not to go to L3. That's what I did last time. I forgot that I'm not supposed to go to L3. And I'm going to do that again in this fight. So there I was just backing out to make sure my white mags pre-fight applied, and it did. So I'm going with Dr. Doom, and I'm doing the same thing, throwing on my SP1 boost. But the thing is, the reason you throw your special 1 boost is so that baiting a heavy attack and hitting the defender with medium, light, medium gets you to a special 2. Look at this. It got me to a special 2, and then I just didn't throw it. And the way it works is that I lined up the masochism so that none of my incinerates would be shrugged off, no regen. I timed it with the shock. So I did that part right. And then as soon as I went to my L3, I'm like, oh shit, I gotta use this or I'm dead. And I remember I'm going to get nullified. So I have to do weird hits. And actually I got insanely unlucky because it's only 10% chance per contact. And I actually got nullified on the second hit. So lucky for me, at this point, Manthing's only at 2 Furies. And I am going to play the rest of the fight pretty well, alternating L1 and L2. One time I'm going to throw an L2 into his block because I thought I still had aura and I didn't. But other than that, it's actually a pretty nice fight. It's just going to take slightly longer because of that mess up at the start. You see a minute's already passed, and normally he's at about 10% health by now. But right there, we did actually time Masochism perfectly to get our full Incinerate damage. And at this point, the fight is completely over. He cannot throw a special attack when we block like this. And right there, my aura, like, just expired, just barely. So here I was going to bait a heavy attack, and I'm like, sweet, okay, I'm able to go into my L1 here. Unfortunately, my L1 gets him to 9 charges, so I don't get MD from that. And I actually triggered the shock slightly before Masochism came back, so I actually did get an Incinerate shrugged off. But I'm just going to throw one more L2 right here, and he is dead. So, not the cleanest fight, and I did definitely make mistakes, but because of the mistakes I made that were the exact same mistakes last time that had me killed, I knew how to react coming out of those mistakes. Now, I'm going to pause it right here, because this is the pathetic death. Hitmonkey. I wasn't assigned this fight. This is the first time in Alliance War ever that I have taken a fight I was not assigned without asking first. I didn't ask. This fight was assigned to a R4 Apocalypse, the same guy. Actually, not the same guy taking the boss, because we're using Omega this war. This was assigned to an R4 Apocalypse who had Cable, which means he starts at full charges. This is a minute fight with him. That guy wasn't here. And I was told by someone else that they need to clear their fights, and was asking if I could clear fights now. And I said yes, but I have to wait until I can get to Sersi. And in order to get to Sersi, I have to take Hitmonkey. So I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take Hitmonkey. Should be fine. I just got to play it slow. And that's fine, because Doom can do this fight. Okay, Doom can do this, and it's completely fine. There's nothing wrong with Doom as a counter here. What's wrong with Doom as a counter is when you eat a special 3, 2 heavy attacks, and a special 2 to the face. Which is why I call this one of the most pathetic fights I've ever seen. And, like, this is not a fight worthy of a Masters player. Is the only way I can put this. Just watch this fight. So I correctly throw my L1 so that he's not at an L2. And at this point, I have not triggered Power Snack yet, so my plan was to just wait out his senses before I hit him there. So there, he still had his evade sense up. So here, I am able to hit into him. So I'm going to do one hit, throw an L1. Unfortunately, he throws the L1. And right here, I could have actually made the fight a lot more safe by just baiting another L1, but instead I'm going to trigger Dex right away, and that's not the L2 I eat. So at this point, the fight is fine. He's at 2/3 health, and I'm at 91%. The fight's fine at this point. But he's not going to throw another special. He's going to go straight to his L3. And that's my fault, because I'm going to trigger Dex a shit ton of times. I'm going to get nullified, and I'm going to feed him power. Now, at this point, he's at 53%, and I realize backup recovery is coming. So I was backing up there trying to bait the L1. He's not going to throw it. I see he gets pushed over, so I have to throw my L1, but he's still at an L2. He's still at an L2, so at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait out his senses. I throw my L2 right before Aura ends, and right there, I was trying to bait his L2, and he's not throwing it. So I'm back in my own corner, and I looked at his power bar, and I realized if I trigger this Dex buff, it's going to give him power. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take enough hits on the block that a parry medium, light, medium can get me into an L2, because that is going to put him to 1.9 bars of power. So if he does throw the L1, he's not going to kill me. So that's what the goal was at this point. And at this point, the fight's almost over, and I'm almost won. But he is going to throw a heavy attack, and then throw another heavy attack. So I throw the L1, and he dashes just out of range, and throws the L3 instantly. So I perfectly get my perfect damage reduction on the L3, but eating those heavy attacks removed my indestructible charges. So it almost kills me. And at this point, I throw the L1 just to get some adrenaline healing back. I'm going to parry to remove the shrug off, and then here I'm going to parry and do my hits. That was just to give me the power back. So at this point, if I had just gone to a special 2 and thrown it, he dies from that L2. But instead, I triggered X and eat an L2 instantly, which kills me. And I just about threw my phone. I was sitting on my chair. I just about got up and whipped my phone across the room. At never in any point in Alliance War have I felt more ashamed about a death. I took a fight I was not assigned, didn't ask, and then died to it. And I had a chance to save the fight. If I just blocked and baited out a heavy attack there instead of triggering Dex, I win that fight. And look at that. I lose 1% reviving to take him down. And at that point, we were already ahead 4-1. So I made it 4-2. But that doesn't change how shitty I feel. I've never taken a fight I wasn't assigned before without approving it first. And I've never died to a fight I wasn't assigned, regardless of whether it was approved or not. I've never done that before. And I did it today. So here I've got this Sersi on Mixmaster, and I was actually assigned a White Mags pre-fight for this. It wasn't my own, it was someone else's. But I knew that it was completely unnecessary and it didn't really do anything for this fight, so I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to stick to my normal combos. So there I did a medium, light, medium, which means that my next hit has to be either a heavy attack or a light attack. But Sersi's actually not going to throw a special the entire fight. She's just going to die, which was really nice of her. And then here I have to land a parry, so luckily she didn't throw that L1. I am confident evading her L1 if she throws it, but still nice that she didn't. So here I throw my L1, and I'm going to almost get back to an L2, and then one heavy attack, and she actually dies from this L2. So that was a perfect fight. That was another perfect fight. And my next one's actually really nice too. It's Clairvoyant on path 4, section 2. And I'm throwing on an advanced power boost that's going to be for these 2 fights. Now, I was assigned Moleman for this fight, and I asked in the chat, does anyone have a video of Moleman versus this Claire? It just sounds a little sketchy to me. And no one did, but someone did say, you can just use Doom for that. And I was like, yeah, I can just use Doom for this, because if she throws an L2, yeah, she's going to go unblockable, but so what? I did a bunch of duels, and you can actually ricochet intercept her, which is really cool. And then there, I hit a nice intercept. I was just trying to give her a little more power before I go to my L3. Now, I do know that I have buff immunity on me right now, but I actually know the way that buff immunity interacts with the global, and I know that trying to trigger a buff during buff immunity does not trigger the global. So right there, I was just free to do my normal cycle. And I actually got pretty lucky. She never threw an L2, or sorry, an L1 in this fight. She is going to throw another L2 right here. But that's completely fine because I'm still at 100% health here. I'm going to do my combo into an L3, and this is actually going to kill. So when I was looking at the map, I was scouting it. This is the fight that scared me the most, and it turned out to be one of the easiest fights. So yeah, that fight went down, and I was really happy because I was quite scared about it, and I never triggered the global. This next fight's a little sketchy because this is actually a rank 4 Knull. Bad rank up in my opinion. I don't think he's worth rank 4. But yeah, we're going to go in with Moleman. I still have my SP1 boost on for another minute. So I'm going to throw on some skill power back boosts and damage boosts. So I did have 12% in the store right now. So I bought 1 because I knew this was my only Moleman fight. So I only had to boost up once, so we're gonna dash back, and I actually got caught trying to dash back a second time, which means I wasn't able to do everything, but also because this is a max sig Knull, I actually started with 16 debuffs on me, whereas the ones I've fought previously have not been max sig, so I've had less. So here I knew I could get my opening, but I knew that throwing my L2 would push him to an L3, so I'm going to bait his L2. I'm pretty confident baiting his L2. It's just that the mistake most people make against Knull is that they spam decks. That actually doesn't work. So you have to dash back once, and then you have to wait before your second dash back. So at this point, I knew the fight was over. I just had to reach another L2. So I hit a nice light intercept there, and he actually dies. So nice fights. Not nice fight because I did eat a combo as well as a SP1. But I'm really happy about how that fight went. I didn't turn on suicides or anything. But you know, it still works out. And we won. We just destroyed these guys. At the moment, the war's not over. We have 80 attacker kills. They have 88. It's only 9:44 p.m., so it's like 7 hours and 45 minutes after war started. And we are at 3 deaths, and they're at 18 deaths. So, yeah, we won. But so I thought I just might as well record my video now, so I don't have to do it in the morning, because I'm quite busy tomorrow. So we are now 2-0 on the season. My death total is at 1. Just one, probably the worst death I've ever had. And my PSR is at 11 out of 12 because I had 7 fights this war, so 91%. I was actually assigned to 7 fights. One of my fights got reassigned because the planning officer didn't know that Omega Sentinel was immune to stagger, and I was supposed to take her on Footloose, so I was like reading her abilities, and I'm like, yeah, you can't take her on Footloose with Noom unless you like go full power control mode spamming SP1 the entire fight, because she's also immune to Nullify, so you can't abuse MD with her personal armor ups. So yeah, it's the percentage of my PSR, I did not calculate 11 out of 12. I only calculated 10 out of 11 because I miscounted my fights in this war. Whatever's in the description's right. And my Deathless streak is up to a whole 3 fights. So hopefully we don't die again this season. Just one of the most bonehead moves I've ever made. And I had chances to save it. You know, I could have saved the fight. I could have saved the fight by not dexing at the end. Honestly, if I turned off dex completely in this fight, I probably win. Genuinely. If I turned off dex completely, I probably win that fight. But it doesn't matter because I died. Granted, great war to die in when we're winning by 50 and halfway into the war, and we're probably going to win by like 40. But doesn't change how much it sucks to die and feel like a piece of garbage for the way that you died in such a scummy way. And I don't know. I was trying to help people out by clearing so they could do it with their different time zones, and it was a mistake. It was a mistake. So that's going to be it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed my misery. Just genuinely pathetic is the only way I can describe my performance today. Now, I didn't die twice, so there's that. I only died once this war. But yeah, there we go. That's going to be it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.